I'm Billie D. Hamilton, and these are, it's a series of raw pastels. They're unfixed pastels on panel. And the series is called Hank and Agnes. And Hank and Agnes are real people. I've never really met them formally, but they came into the Buddhist temple on 2nd and Market one day. Hank came in first while we were all sitting and meditating, and he came in yelling, "Agnes, Agnes, are you in here?" And somebody politely escorted him out, and we went back to meditating. And then about 20 minutes later, a woman came in and said, "Hank, where are you? I've been waiting 30 minutes. And then somebody escorted her out. And I was thinking about them a lot because she had definitely entered into my meditation now. And so every time now that I go back to the Buddhist temple, I can't help but think about Hank and Agnes. So I think Hank is a dentist from Cleveland, and Agnes is a special ed teacher who originally came from Minneapolis, but they live now together in Omaha, and they've been together for 39 years, and this is the story of their life. I got into art because my grandmother bought me crayons, and I loved the way they smelled, and I loved just the pure color of it. And she didn't make me stay inside the lines when I colored. She would just let me color any way I wanted. So I thought it was really fun. I ended up in art school at San Francisco Art Institute in the early 60s. And I didn't like it much. It was kind of like a trade school, so I was only there for a year, and I ended up finishing up my degree at San Diego State with a regular liberal arts education, and actually my degree is in biology. And then I went on later, I got a doctorate at UCI, and then I did some post-grad work at UCLA, and I used to be in public health, but now I'm in art full-time. The Proctor's building actually was built in the late 1880s even. I think 1889 or something like that. It's one of the early buildings down here in the gas lamp. And I've been in and out of this building since 1976. And I know during the 70s, it was mostly, there were a lot of artists in this building, a lot of well-known artists. And some artist friends of mine had a big kind of a communal studio here. And then all of these little rooms that go along the outside edges were offices, and they all interconnect. Below me is the second floor, which is kind of like a cubicle farm for artists, and they're small studios. They're only about 100 square feet. Some of them are a little bigger, and then the third floor is these enclosed studios with this lovely 5,000 square foot gallery space. 14-foot ceilings, at least 14 feet. And we share the gallery. We have group shows here.
I've been an artist over 40 years. I was an artist as a child growing up in Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, and I used to do plays and paintings, and my father brought me things, and I think I always had that. And then in my 20s, I started doing photography, and I moved to California, and I worked for KPBS and learned and got my journalism degree and my photojournalism degree. And then I moved on and got my master's in fine art. So it's kind of been a progression. And this piece right here, it actually starts, if you think about it, as a journalistic type of image. It's a road in Italy, in Venice. And what struck me when I was walking down the streets of Venice, have you ever thought about, like, why are all the windows shuttered? You know, what's going on behind? And so where I have all the windows, I have ears. So it's called Who is Listening. So there's about 19 ears in this. It's sort of like Finding Waldo. And so it's supposed to be fun too, but it has an edge that's deeper. There's a beggar woman, and it's a collage, so I put images in, and then I paint on them with pastels and inks and draw on them too. And so there's a beggar woman there. There's a little girl with a silk that I've actually painted, and a mask that I've made here on the bottom. And then this is a scene of Salvador Dali's Christ on the cross, and that actually is in Glasgow. And there's a father and a daughter looking up at that. So it's a story, basically. There's a story going on here. And I invite the viewer, a lot of times what I really like the most in my work, and maybe that comes from the journalism background, but what I really like the most is if somebody looks at something and makes up a story, or makes up something in their mind that has a feeling of a story. So this piece is called Fish Dance a Fragile Whirl, and it's actually was the first piece I did in a series for Sea Changes Act, which is a project that I founded and I'm the leader of, which has 7 scientists and 7 artists working together to educate and promote innovation to save the oceans. It has to do with climate change mostly, and it has to do with plastic pollution and overfishing.